relationship easy to get into, hard to maintain.
Yes, yes. Oh, oh, oh.
I'll have what she's having.
Heavens to Murgatroyd!
I'll have what she's having.
Oh my God!
My lady, come, my lady. My lady, come, my lady. My lady, come, my lady.
Good evening. This is S. Michael, and with me, as always, is
Christine.
AKA
Honey.
And we are Taboo, a couple's journey into the depths of sexual depravity. If you are new with us, welcome to the show. Every week we talk about a different taboo topic, and we also give updates on where we're at in our relationship, which is still, relatively speaking, a new relationship. And any activity that we may or may not be involved with in quote-unquote the lifestyle, meaning kinks, fetishes involving other people in our relationship, things that may or may not be taboo themselves,
Or just out of the box that most mainstream couples don't do or practice in the bedroom.
So we are now on our 12th episode. So moving right along, we have missed a few here and there due to illness and personal things going on in our lives. Most recently, we've had some health concerns. I went through some viral tonsillitis, which made me unable to speak or swallow whole food for several weeks. I lost 20 pounds. I've only gained back 4.5, so I'm proud of that. But, honey, do you want to tell them what you've been going through and how
you could have kept going.
Okay, well, Christine,
On the last podcast was the day of my
on the last show, was talking about mammograms and how important they are, and had done TikTok videos and talked about it on her Facebook page and all the things. And that is so true because, unfortunately, Christine has become, like so many women around the world every day, a victim of breast cancer. Thank God it is early stage. It is stage 1. It is not very aggressive, but it is aggressive, ductile. Invasive, ductile. Not aggressive, no, I used the wrong word. But we have been facing this together also with her family since she found out.
Did you say ductile?
Yeah.
I thought so. I thought I heard that twice.
Is it not ductile?
Not ductile, ductile.
Ductile.
Yeah.
Oh, I pronounce it ductile.
Tile.
Like I'm tiling the bathroom floor or something.
With ducks.
With ducks.
Yeah.
It's my ductile.
Yeah. It's ductal. It's IDC, invasive ductal carcinoma. Which just means it's broke loose.
Yeah.
From its original spot.
And so what we have done is as much research as we possibly can. Christine has jumped in with both feet into survivor groups of women who are going through similar things or worse or better. I've, consulted Google and several AIs and done cross-references of peer-reviewed studies and facts and statistics and figures, and we just both have basically done a crash course on options, and that's what you end up with when you get cancer is options.
Yeah, and so far I've seen the surgical oncologist who gave us options, and then I saw the PT therapist she did like a pre-op assessment, as well as talked to me about the type of PT that would be required after surgery, as well as lymphedema education, just to learn about some of the things that can happen after the surgery when they remove lymph nodes. So that's what I've done so far, medically speaking. And the next appointment that I have right now, doesn't mean I won't get another one in the meantime, but the next one is with a plastic surgeon on January 9th. Which either way, regardless of whether I do reconstruction or choose not to, which it's interesting because this is what's led us into today's topic, which we'll get to, but regardless of which way I go, I want a plastic surgeon to do the work. So that's why I'm going to see a plastic surgeon.
Yes, the appointment's already been made. She knows the doctor's name. It's a funny name.
Yeah.
So many doctors with funny names these days. What's up with that?
Yeah.
I'm such a honky, you know. Why is it can't it be Dr. Smith or Dr. Jones? Whatever happened to those doctors? But be that as it may, yeah, it's in the works, and we're going through this together. We're facing it head on because guess what? Cancer doesn't really give you a choice. And we're having all the emotions that are involved.
Which the main one is anxiety.
For sure.
For at least with me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like just major anxiety. As a matter of fact, and this is kind of funny, I take Lexapro for anxiety because one thing that Mike didn't mention is I have a strong family history of cancer. So my whole family, which consists of 5 of us, but they're all passed. My siblings and my parents passed from cancer. And this all happened within the last few years. So I got on Lexapro because I had a lot of anxiety surrounding being faced with all this death all of a sudden. It really makes you question your mortality and look at your own death. And that can be anxious and give you an anxious feeling. So I went on Lexapro because my doctor suggested it. I had been resistant to it. But then when everything really started falling in on me...
just actually lessened your dose. Yes.
That's what I was going to say. So I started the Lexapro, so I was on it when I got my cancer diagnosis. But all the anxiety, a week before, maybe 2 weeks before, I had told my doctor, my primary care, I said, hey, let's reduce my Lexapro. Things are going great. I feel good.
Got a new boyfriend.
Yeah, everything is going great. I think it's time for me to lessen it. I don't want to go off of it, but definitely lessen it. And she agreed. So we did. Well, I sent her a message the other day and I said, well...
Guess what?
Yeah, now that I've got a cancer diagnosis, I'm feeling lots of stress, so I think we need to raise it by 5 milligrams. And she didn't even...
Bat an eye.
Yeah, she didn't even contact me. She just sent the prescription in. So I'm like, yeah. Anxiety medicine is one of the main medicines cancer patients take, and I can see why.
So why lead with this other than the fact that it's turning our lives upside down like anyone else dealing with a cancer diagnosis?
And it's our relationship update.
Exactly. How has this affected our relationship? And it has, you know, like so many other things, taught us things about ourselves, taught us things about how we relate to each other. From my perspective, of course, I wanted to be her knight in shining armor and, you know, do all of the research I could and be her advocate and make sure that she's fully educated on all the facts and statistics. But something that I discovered along the way was that I was not allowing myself to feel the emotions that are involved with, you know, what she's going through. I wasn't necessarily empathizing with her as I was presenting, you know, my findings.
And because he wasn't allowing himself to feel it, not only was he not feeling it himself, but I wasn't seeing it. I saw nothing that connected us in a humanity sort of way, in a you know, a basic.
And so we had a hard conversation about that, and of course I was like, "What are you talking about? Yeah. I'm your biggest fan. Of course I only want, etc." I didn't understand that she needs both, and she needs both in the moment. You know, I could not allow myself to feel everything that I knew I was feeling because for many reasons, primarily among them being that I'm a man who lives in a Western society, and from the time I've been raised, I've been told that men don't show emotion. Men are not supposed to cry. And that's bullshit. If you are in love with someone who is going through fucking breast cancer, you are absolutely supposed to cry, and you're going to whether you plan to or not.
And you can do that with your partner or in private. It doesn't matter, because I want to make one thing. I want to be clear about one thing. I need to see some emotion, but I'm not asking him, and nobody should ask another person to be emotional all the time and, you know, change who you are. I want to see your emotions. I know you're feeling none of that. I just needed to see a little bit. Like at some point, we've been going through this now since December 3rd, and I just needed a little something to connect me in a more basic human way. And I made sure he knew, hey, all the research that you do is fucking fantastic. I love it. Don't stop it. Please do not stop it. And of course, that's the primary thing that he should do. And I'm okay with that. I don't want him to be falling apart every day. That's not at all what I want. No, it's not at all what I need. but connect to me a little bit. In other words, when you're really feeling it and you're overwhelmed, go ahead. It's okay. As a matter of fact, it makes you much more human to me. So that's a good thing. And I had to remind him of that. I had to tell him that.
And so I did. I allowed myself to feel everything, and it was cathartic. And, we were in the midst of that in one of our famous, tunnels of chaos arguments, where I wasn't quite hearing what she was saying, or misinterpreting things that she was saying, or getting butthurt or defensive, etc. But we got through it very quickly, probably in record time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did. I said, okay, let me step away for just 2 minutes. Came back, realized what was going on, and we resolved it. The simple fact is, men, yes, you can and should be your person's knight in shining armor when they're going through a crisis, but no man is an island. You're not a robot. It's okay to express your feelings. In fact, it's advisable.
Yeah, she may need to know that she's not the only one that this is affecting on an emotional level. So it's okay. Yeah, share it.
So what else does this have to do with the sort of show that we do, which is Taboo, a couple's journey into sexual depravity?
Yeah, so smoothly segueing straight into the topic today, it brought this situation caused me to ask a question, which has led us to where we are. And my question was, and I'm sure Mike had already thought about it, is he smartly, rightly so, he didn't talk about it. He allowed me to get there. He knew I would. And I think I actually asked the question a lot sooner than he thought I would. But the question was, how is this going to affect our desire to do the things we do, to have the podcast that we do, to just do all the stuff that we fantasize about doing, that we dream of doing, that we want to do? How's it going to affect it? And that opened up the conversation with us, and what led us to saying, hey, this is probably something that needs to be talked about in regards to taboo.
Yeah, for instance, and I only just thought of this, we already have not issues, but we tread lightly when it comes to introducing females to our dynamic. We have not done that yet.
Oof,
which again,
I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, exactly. I only just thought of it.
That could be very...
Exactly. Why would I invite a woman into our relationship to be a unicorn, or however you want to spin it, when I know that my woman, my beloved person, has had her breasts removed?
Right.
And so now she's suddenly dealing with another woman who probably is going to have breasts.
Right, well, yeah.
And it's like, why would I put her through that? We haven't even, again, it's just something I just thought of.
Yeah,
it's like,
that
may not be a good fantasy to explore from now on. And I'm okay with that. It never was high on my radar. But that's just one example of something that we now have to consider.
The sad thing is it's always been sort of on my radar.
Yeah.
And now I'm going...
we've talked about it before.
Yes.
One of her funnest fantasies that I have been getting into more and more lately is she and another woman going down on me at the same time. So
that is something I hadn't thought of. And so that is another thing, because cancer treatment moves fast, guys. Thank God it does. But that's probably going to be another thing I'm going to have to let go of and be okay with. Just like one of the first things I realized I have to let go of, at least for a while, maybe not permanently, but maybe, I don't know, is to continue my sleeve on my left arm. Because I have left-sided breast cancer, and they're going to take some lymph nodes, and once they do, your that side is going to be susceptible to infection. And if you get infection, you're not going to be able to fix it, if that makes sense. I mean, because your lymph nodes clean out infection. So your arm's not going to work the way it should. And therefore,
when it comes to fighting off infection.
right. So you could get lymphedema, which is swelling, and it's a mess. So I can't get my tattoo. So there are things that we're discovering, and this is a new one. I may not be able to ever realize that fantasy, and maybe I won't even want to play that fantasy anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I've actually said things like, I can feel her tits on my legs.
Yeah.
She's sucking my balls, you're sucking my cock. I can
Yeah.
feel her tits on my legs, they're soft. You know, just getting into the fantasy. And now, for me to say that would be so callous and insensitive.
And we had a little sample,
Yes.
tiny sample.
Let me tell it, please.
Okay.
I am in love with Ed Wood, and Ed Wood is the worst director of all time. There's a fantastic movie by Tim Burton that talks about Ed Wood, played by Johnny Depp. And he has a movie from the mid-'60s called Orgy of the Dead, and basically all it is a go-go dance. It's got like 10 topless dancers with different themes, and these characters from other Ed Wood movies show up, including the Wolfman, the Mummy, Criswell, Vampira, and they just basically talk about these women who are dancing topless.
And with only like a thong on.
Right.
So basically nude.
It's mid-'60s porn. It's the closest they could come to porn. And I put on the movie the day that she found out she got fucking breast cancer. How fucking stupid am I? And it was something that I had planned on doing for weeks, and it didn't even occur to me. She's not going to want to look at women's boobs right now. She's facing the prospect of losing hers. All I was thinking about is, this is a funny-ass movie that I've watched with many friends, that I've always cracked up, and I want her to be part of this world of horror/cheesiness that I've always been involved in. And we had actually talked about it in the past. And
I tried. I sat there.
In her, to her credit, she sat through 3/4 of the fucking movie before she was finally like, I'm going to bed. And didn't say a word to me.
Actually, I didn't do that. I went to the bathroom.
Right.
I excused myself. He's like, you want me to stop it? I'm like, no, that's okay. You go ahead. I know you're enjoying it. You finish. And I left. And then I cried in the bathroom, not because he's sitting out there watching boobs, because I mean, there was a little part of it that had to do with the fact that he was staring at boobs, of course, because in my mind I'm like, I'm gonna lose mine, you know, so that's a whole mind fuck. So of course it had something to do with the future and just everything to do with him and other ways, you know, I don't have to say it, but it was also the fact that I had just found out I'm losing mine, so you know, so I sat in the bathroom and cried for like 20 minutes.
Then she came out and went straight to bed. I'm going to bed, and basically I was like, okay, and she was like, well, finish your movie, you know, and not in a mean way, just like, go ahead and finish your movie. And I was like, no, are you fucking kidding me? I have no interest in the movie. And we talked about it later. And
well, the next day I told him, because we're all about in the moment. He's trying to get me, and I think I've gotten there. I've learned to talk about things in the moment. So the first thing I told him,
close to the moment as
well. Yeah. So the next day I told him, I said, I know it's not in the moment, but I couldn't. There's no way I could have talked about this last night. So you'll have to forgive me, but this is as close as I could get. And I told him what happened, and he did. He felt horrible.
Of course, I melted down, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did
and
this to you.
I didn't want him to feel horrible. I just wanted him to understand that for a while I don't know how I'm going to fucking handle this. You know?
The bottom line is that something can happen to you or your person during the course of your relationship that is going to change things forever.
Yeah.
And they may be things like me and my stupid ignorance don't even consider. I was just thinking about, this is something funny and fun that I've already told you about, that we're just going to have a laugh or two. It didn't even cross my mind that, oh my God, I'm showing her boobs.
The very thing. How weird. I mean, like, that's like so fucking ironic. I almost think it didn't occur to him as a test to us, you know, because how could he not think of it? But he didn't. I mean, he didn't do this on purpose, and it's kind of weird that he could. So it's like, what was this?
And I'll tell you partly why is because Christine and I we're not hypersexual. That means something different than what most people think it means. But we are sexualized people. She has been a cam model for years. She and I met on a adult dating site. We do things in the lifestyle. And so oftentimes, and I've seen this happen in more instances than just this, when it comes to sexual things, we're more open and more nonchalant about them
Right.
than most people. And so, again, it didn't even occur to me because, I know her, she knows me, we're kind of the same person. She's me with tits, basically, which, Jesus, now I'm going to have to take that comment back. Like, she's not me with tits anymore.
No.
It's like, again, there are little things like that you don't realize are going to change.
And I even told him when I talked to him the next day, I'm like, under normal circumstances, that movie was stupid and funny and ridiculous, and I would have most certainly sat there and been like, "Fuck me, this is just." And I did make comments. I'm like, "Who the fuck choreographed this shit?" So we did, and I did try.
Yes, absolutely. To her credit, she sat through most of it. She made comments here and there. She even kind of half-heartedly giggled a couple of times. But yes, I could tell she was not enjoying it, and I thought she just didn't like the movie. But that wasn't it at all. And
who would fucking like it? It's stupid as fuck. But from that,
it's one of those so bad it's good
exactly
kind of things, though.
Exactly.
And she and I watched other Ed Wood movies together and cracked up. So.
And I love Ed Wood. I love the story.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was our first little taste of wow. Okay. We need to think of life
and I just
in a different way.
Accidentally did a new one. I love saying that she's me with boobs.
Right.
And what an insensitive thing to say to somebody who's looking at the prospect of losing their boobs. Well, I meant nothing by it.
No,
it's just life is different for us now.
And it's going to take some time to adjust and to understand that there are going to be things that change. And that's why I asked him, how is this going to affect lifestyle? So we started talking about it, and where did that lead us? That's what led us to this. Actually, what we're talking about now isn't the taboo topic.
No, the taboo topic.
It's coming.
is kind of, and I'm not sure how I'm going to phrase it on the title itself, but it's a cross between like body modification type things and exploitation. Because the first thing we said was, well, is there a mastectomy porn?
Well, hold on. I'm sorry, people. I know. I'm sorry, but preface this by telling them what I said, the surgery I wanted, and what I was going to do with it. You want me to do it? Do you not know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so when I first found out, I quickly weighed the options, and I said, I think I would want to go flat because the aesthetic flat closure. So they can just close you up, and the regular oncology surgeon does it, or you can get a plastic surgeon and he can do what's called an aesthetic flat closure, which means that he's going to make it look as good as he can, like it's natural. And I wanted that, and I told him the reason why was because there's so many complications that can happen with the other things, and I don't think I even want to put something foreign back into my body when I'm taking something out of my body that's causing me harm. And he understood that, but he continued advocating. That's not the point. The point is, once I decided that I wanted to do that, I told him, look, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm telling you right now, and I hope this gives you some comfort. If I do go flat, I am going to rock this shit. I will have as much confidence, sexual confidence, sensuality as I have right now. I will find the clothes. I will find everything. I will do whatever I have to make sure that when I walk in a room, I fucking walk in a room the way I did with tits.
Because what does Angelina Jolie do when she walks into a room?
Right.
What does Kate Hudson do when she walks into a room? These are basically flat-chested women.
And I told him, and what led me to this, I went on to TikTok and I put in AFC, which is the acronym for aesthetic flat closure. And when I did that, it popped up so many young women, beautiful women, and they were just owning it. And I said, that's where my head needs to be, because I refuse to do something to my own body that's going to cause me to be depressed and upset and feel like I lost my sexuality. No, I'm going to embrace it, and I am going to make it into something that looks amazing on me. And that's what I told him.
There are things that she'll be able to wear with no boobs that she could not have worn with a D cup.
I've always wanted, and I've been showing him recently, which is another ironic thing, I've been showing him these chain bras, and I'm sure you guys, if you think about it, you probably know what I'm talking about. They're like halter tops. They're made out of chain. Sometimes they're made out of jewels. You know, they're blinged out, and they come down just to your midriff. You really can't see the breast. Some of them you can, but there's a lot that you can't see the breasts. But it's just very beautiful, and I couldn't wear them. They don't look right on me. They didn't sit right on me. And my boobs were too big. I did find some that didn't cover them. They allowed your breasts to show the cleavage, so those worked better, and I was planning on buying some. And now I can't. But those kind of things are now an option for me, as well as, and this was the first thing I told him, I now can get something that is, the cleavage is cut all the way down to my belly button, and I don't have to worry about my boobs flopping out. I can wear those things and look fantastic, and I'm going to.
And so another thing we discussed is, how is this going to affect the lifestyle? Yeah. Meaning basically that she knows I'm going to love her and be into her no matter what, because she's her. And I've talked about this in previous episodes. Whoever you're with, that's your new kink. That is your fetish. If it's not, you better fucking figure out how. So if you're with a 400-pound woman, that is what you're into. That's my basic philosophy. So yes, now she has no breasts. That is what I'm into. But
tell them what one of the things you started saying recently, before you thought that I was going to be totally flat, and you thought that my boobs were just going to shrink a lot. He would say, I'm going to love your new A cups.
Yeah.
I'm becoming a fan of A cups. Things like that. But then he found out it wasn't even going to be an A cup.
No, but it's not even going to be an A cup.
No.
But we have actually seen things like prosthetic nipples that we can look into.
Yeah.
We've seen tattoos that give the
3D.
illusion of contour.
Yeah.
So there's just all kinds of shit. But again, one of the things she's excited about, and that I'm also excited about, is the new lingerie possibilities and the new outfits that she'll be able to try on. But again, how is this going to affect the lifestyle? We know that I'm going to love her no matter what and be attracted to her. But how are all of these guys who've been bombarding her with messages all these years, trying to get with her, even since we've been a couple, trying to get with us, how's it going to affect that?
Right.
And the simple, short answer is we really don't know.
Nope.
But we're not the kind of, and she definitely is not the kind of person who's going to show old photos of herself and bait and switch.
Good Lord, no. And that was one of the first things I told him was, well, we're going to have to take new pictures, and we're going to have to take them the way that I want to present myself, in a very sexual and sexy way, and do the best we can, and either they find it attractive or they don't. And I need to make it clear in the profile, the pictures you're seeing are basically the way I look, and probably the way I have sex, because I want to remain sexy throughout our session. So taking it off and
She
seeing...
won't be bareback during the
right.
time,
Well, my back will be.
No, well, bare-chested.
Bare-chested, yeah. And so you need to look at those pictures and go, well, yeah, I can get on board with that. And then I told him, but that might not be the only issue we have. Sometimes people stigmatize cancer survivors.
They may look at her differently because she's had breast cancer. People
Like
just don't know what they don't know. If I didn't know any better, I might think that someone who had been through cancer has like brittle bones, or they're weakened in some way.
They look like a victim, a survivor.
There's the stereotypical cancer survivor with the scarf on her head and the dark circles on her eyes and all that shit.
Which is why the current photos are important.
And so one of the things that I think both are excited about is that we get to redo our profiles, which is always one of the most fun parts of doing a couple's profile on these apps, which we can talk about FET a little bit, because this is interesting. We haven't really discussed FET yet, but FET doesn't let you have a couple's profile, but it does let you say whatever you want.
Oh, that's true. Our last podcast, I was saying, yeah, we can do a couple, but we went and as I started looking at it, I started remembering.
So what I just did was created my own profile, and you can friend another person that's on FET and state what your relationship is, and so she and I are both listed as each other's person, now.
So when
and
somebody looks at your
it's
profile,
clearly a couple's
right,
profile.
that's the best you can do. You can put a picture of yourself, so it's a couple if you want, which he did and I did, and then right there at the very top, one of the first things they see, it says in a relationship with, and then it links to my profile.
And so I'm going to do something a little risky, and I'm going to say, come see us at FET, because FET is a new thing for me that I'm excited about. There are over 600 pictures of Christine on FET.
But you have to be my friend to see.
Yes, and she has a long history of guys that have been trying to date her and look at her pictures and get with her all these years, and that's still, even though I feel some kind of way about old suitors coming after her, it still excites me to know that there are men that lust after her the way that I do. I have started to embrace the stag vixen fantasy that initially was her fantasy that I was not familiar with. I always kind of equated it with cuckoldry, and it's not. And we've talked about that, what stag vixen is, what cuckoldry is.
I actually have done podcasts on that, because a lot of people equate the two. They conflate them, and they aren't the same. They don't have to be the same. Well, they aren't the same. A stag is not a cuckold. Oh, the opposites.
Right.
So anyway.
But it took some doing for me to get there. I think that, any time that you end up in a one-to-one relationship with the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, you're gonna feel some kind of way, possibly, maybe not, but this is how I felt. I was shocked to learn that I am more of a jealous person than I realized.
Because he's never felt
This deeply in love with someone.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but that's nice. But what I was going to say was he's never felt this kind of jealousy. He's never felt
Territoriality.
Yeah.
And so to me, the caveat, the difference was we have things like AFF and SLS where it very clearly states in our profile that we're only looking for NSA, no strings attached sex. And there's not a bunch of guys that she has met on there over the years trying to do shit with her, who are familiar with her chatterbait, who've been just, at various times throughout her life in the previous 4 years, have reached out to her, et cetera, et cetera. It's a different kind of thing. And so I was very upset about FET because I couldn't just instantly jump in like I did with AFF and SLS and make it obvious that we're a couple. It took some doing. It took some kind of figuring some shit out.
Yeah, for me, the way that we were able to connect, when I told him, oh, that's right, I forgot, but now that I'm seeing it, I remember on FET you can't do like you can on the other sites, but what we can do is you create a profile and we connect them, and it'll say right on. And for me, when somebody logs on my profile and the first thing they see is my name, my age, and then they see in a relationship with, and it shows his profile. For me, that's perfect. I mean, that's as good to me. That's as good as having a couple's profile, but it's not to him because he feels a certain way, already about this, and I get that. I do. But I want to pull us back, okay? Because we're getting a little stuck again in
relationship update.
Right, but we did introduce the taboo topic, and I'm tired of you
Bring
guys
us back
waiting.
into that a little bit,
So what the taboo topic is, now that we have really set you up with all our thoughts and feelings regarding this, is exploitation.
Right, and
Breast
how did
cancer
we get there?
and exploitation. So I'm going to tell you that's the name of it, and then we're going to explain why we're thinking is it exploitation? So why did we say that?
I think the first thing that led us towards that topic was is there mastectomy porn?
Right.
Is there which apparently on FET there is. There's
Well,
a mastectomy kink. Or
I
there's
haven't
people
found
who show images of
Yeah, I
mastectomy.
haven't gone to look at it, but recently somebody did say, well, yeah, if you go to FET, you'll find,
'Cause they've got
mastectomy
every
things.
kind of fucking
Yeah.
kink you could think of.
Yeah.
And so that kind of led to, I guess that makes sense because there's all kinds of paraphilia
Right.
that has to do with either body modification
Right.
or body type. And so having no breasts would be one form of that.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I'm familiar with is anorexia as a search engine.
And those anorexic women have no breasts. They are about as flat as you can get, usually.
Which is why I thought of that. And yes, I have typed in the word anorexia because I've been with very skinny women in previous relationships, and I wanted to look at that. And something that pops up besides just very skinny women, are actual, from time to time, you will see actual anorexic women who you can tell, oh my God, this is a person in the throes of a disease that is going to kill them. And yet here they are basically having sex for money, usually with a guy who is not suffering from any sort of condition. And so the first thing Christine kind of pointed out was, that's gross, that's exploitative, that's, you understand that this is a person who's not in their right mind, who's suffering from a delusion that is going to kill them, and yet here you are,
still partaking
and showing it to the world as if, it's okay to do that.
Right.
And it made me think, okay, yeah, that's true.
But is that what we're doing? And then we said, it's not, though. Because there's
a difference.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating the fact that my girlfriend, who no longer has any breasts, is now a breast cancer survivor who can rock a flat chest.
And I am trying to show, and I hope it works, that a woman can still be a sexual being and have a flat closure.
And I've already typed in sexy flat like I've already kind of started exploring on Google, what women without boobs look like. Some with nipples, most without, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know if they're in the process, though. Maybe they're taking time to think, do I want
Well, and
to?
so there are search filters as well. Like in TikTok, you're not going to see any flat-chested women with nipples because you're not allowed to show nipples on TikTok. But all that to say, no, it's not exploitative because you're basically making the best of a bad situation. When it's exploitative, is like Christine pointed out, if you are truly anorexic and it's obvious that you are, somebody is, making money or getting people off on the fact that you're fucking dying and you have, a mental
It's just
condition.
like the feeder stuff. When somebody sees a morbidly obese person and then they get with them, or they go on to porn sites where they're on cam and they pay them to eat, that's a fetish, but it's also dangerous to the person. You are feeding them, and every time you feed them in an excessive way that it's contributing to their slow walk to death.
I remember the movie Seven, the gluttony person
Yeah.
who was fed until they fucking exploded. I mean, essentially that's what you're doing. You are harming someone.
So knowingly harming or partaking in the harm of someone else for your own gratification, whether it's sexual or just makes you happy or whatever, is exploitation. Right? That is.
So here's what's
exploiting them.
interesting is that you will have many people who say, no, this is a fetish, it's a gray area, only because these are people who are adults, they're consenting adults, and so it may seem exploitative, but at the end of the day, it's their right to do whatever they choose to do with their own body.
Okay, and I have to qualify what he just said with my own thought, because he said it's a fetish, it's not exploitive. When I agree with that.
There will be people who argue that.
But I'm going to say that's what I'm trying to move away from. I actually, in my mind, I'm saying I don't want this to be known as a fetish, that men would get off on fucking the flat lady, or finding the flat woman sexy and wanting to watch her do pornography or whatever. I want to move beyond being the breast cancer survivor who now does sex work. Do you see what I'm saying? I want it to be normalized
to a point, and it makes me think of John Bobbitt. We all know the story of John and Lorena Bobbitt. Lorena Bobbitt cut her husband's dick off because he cheated on her. He had it reattached. He actually ended up becoming a porn star. Now, is that exploitation, or is that somebody who basically made the best of a bad situation? And he's a piece of shit, by the way, so don't believe me. I'm not sympathizing with the guy at all.
But you're right. There's going to be people on both sides of that. There are going to be people who are never going to agree that it's anything less than exploitive. He's exploiting himself for the gain of money, period. And there are going to be other people that celebrate it and say, no.
It's empowerment.
It's empowerment. And he is showing by doing porn, which sure, we know not everybody likes porn, fine. But by doing it.
I think it was called Frankencock was the name of the porn that he did.
But by doing it, he is proving that a man in his situation can still be a sexual being and desirable, which is the point of what I want to do. And I understand there are going to be people who
Are
don't
simply
agree.
attracted to the weirdness of it, or
Right,
the
and
fetish
that's the taboo
of it.
part. Am I ever going to just be someone who is sexy again, or is it always going to equate down to a
Am I some kind of
taboo,
freak?
yeah, freakish, kink, fetish person? And that, yeah, sure, I could be on Chatterbait in my own little cam world doing shit, but the people I'm attracting are fetish people. They're people who are living a quiet, secret, taboo life.
And here's what I would say to that. There's going to be both. Let's say that she does, after her double mastectomy, decide to do an aesthetic closure, full closure, and basically has no breasts and may or may not have nipples, and decides, you know what, I was a cam model before, I can do it again. And of course, she's going to wear the sexiest outfits she can.
And I'm not going to have anything on my menu that says, show me your tits.
Or lack thereof.
Right.
But it will attract both. You know it will, because there are people out there who honestly probably want to feel what it's like to empathize with someone who has no breasts. They want to offer their support.
Well, they're going to, out of curiosity to begin with, they're going to want to see it.
Exactly. They will want to see what it looks like, especially if they've seen you before.
Right.
So there's going to be a mixed bag. And what she wants to avoid is the freak show aspect of it. So no, she's not going to go on there, look at my scars.
Yeah, I don't want to exploit it. I want it to look different.
Sexy.
I want it to
she
be
wants
right.
to rock it.
Right. So do I know that this could be a taboo thing? That I could become a secret, it's like, yeah, I have a kink for the woman that lost her tits to breast cancer. Look at, she's got no tits. She's got a scar. Oh my God. Yeah, I know that there's going to be people who find that in some weird, kinky, taboo kind of way.
Same sort of people who are into amputee porn.
Exactly. So that's that, but that's not what I want to cater to. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to exploit my surgery and my cancer. I'm trying to normalize it. And my normal is sexy, and I don't mean that as I'm sexy. I guess I should say my normal is
Although
sexual.
she was by far the sexiest woman I've ever been with.
But my normal is sexual. It's a highly sexual. I sexualize myself, and that's what I want to continue to be. That, and I don't know. Maybe I see it as a challenge. That I've accepted that this is probably what I'm going to do. Is the flat closure. And I'm trying to embrace it. And part of that is saying, well, gosh, maybe I can find a way to keep living the life I live. And not just out of obstinance, but actually
Feeling sexy.
Feeling sexy and other people actually seeing it. Actually saying, whoa, gosh, she is sexy. She's still sexy. She hasn't lost anything. I mean, I would love to be the woman that somebody comes on doubting that they would find me sexy. Okay, here's a great analogy. My feet. Okay, I can't tell you how many men have come into my life or come into my cam and said, sorry, I'm not into feet. What's that even the fucking about? And I've explained it to them, and I have said to them, now don't be surprised if I show you this and you actually end up loving feet. And I will tell you right now, 9 out of 10 men have ended up telling me, whether they mean it or not, oh my God, I think I could get a foot fetish because your feet are amazing.
Yeah,
I never
you're
thought
talking to one.
Yeah, I never thought a foot would be sexy to me.
One of my favorite things to do during sex is, hey, put your feet on my tuchus. Let me feel your feet on my back. Let me feel your feet. Like,
Or he
feeling
just
her
takes
little
them.
feet on me is fucking mind-blowing. And
Right.
I've never had a foot fetish.
Never had a foot fetish. And so I want to do that with my chest. I want somebody to come into my room or come into my life or whatever and say, there's no way I would find that attractive, and then be like, fuck, I want to fuck you. I want that to happen.
Or pay $20 to watch Mike fuck you.
Right. Whatever. I want to normalize it to my life, which is sex. Sex. And I don't plan on losing that. And will it work? I don't know. I fucking have no idea.
That's part of why we do what we do. It's a journey. It's an exploration of sexual topics and the lifestyle.
Yeah, and will I just end up
this is
being
just our latest thing?
Yeah, and will I just end up being that taboo topic, the mastectomy girl that people peek at because they're not supposed to? That they would never say, "Oh, that's sexy."
I mean, and if that's a concern,
it's not a concern. I'm just wondering.
But I honestly, and I've already said this, and I totally mean it. I'll say it again. I think it's going to be more of a mixed bag than you realize. There's going to be a lot of people who honestly are just morbidly curious. There's going to be some who that is their kink or their fetish. And there's going to be a lot who just are interested in her as a person. And look, yes, in her pictures, she's wearing certain outfits that are sexy, and I want to see that. And okay, she has no breasts.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Is this a big deal? I mean, okay, so as far as the taboo topic goes, yeah, the taboo topic today is about abnormalities, let's say, in bodies, and people finding it fetish-wise or kink-wise attractive, that they get off on these abnormalities in a body, these mutilations.
Exploitation, and so that's the other half of it,
exploitation.
is she doesn't want to exploit herself,
Correct.
which I totally understand. But
And I said I don't think it is exploitation.
But you may find yourself as an amputee, or like John Bobbitt with a fucking Frankencock, and you may decide, you know what, I'm going to exploit the shit out of this,
Right.
and make as much money as I can, being basically a freak show.
And I'm saying that's not what I want to do.
Absolutely.
I want to I want to change the narrative. I don't want it to be, oh yeah, no, there are men out there that are attracted to women without breasts. It's a fetish. It's hidden. It's on the site. Go find it. I don't want it to. I want it to become mainstream. I would love it to be a case of, mastectomy patients who have opted for reconstruction, or whether that's flat or built up, are beautiful and sexy and are treated exactly like every other person in the world. And if they want to be on OnlyFans doing their thing, that's okay. We don't look at them as a amputee. We don't look at them as a mutilated body. It's just another form of porn or sexuality that we can look at and be attracted to them. And one person that I think of, and I don't remember her. Yes, I do. Christine Handy. She posed for Victoria's Secret, and I think she was in her late 40s. She got breast cancer. She had her breast removed. She did a flat closure, and she did what I'm doing, except she did it in a much less taboo way. She decided that she was going to become a model and model the aesthetic closure in clothes and show how beautiful a person who has survived breast cancer could be. And so she did what I want to do, but she did it on a different level. It was still a sexual thing, but it was something that's accepted.
More mainstream.
Yes, it wasn't a taboo topic like what I'm talking about. But it's the same thing, and she was very much accepted, and she made a difference in the way people looked at a flat closure, at a woman that lost her breast. People started looking at that as, wow, you can actually look really sexy. I'm not saying that because I feel sorry for you. I'm saying that because you're fucking sexy. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful.
And I've already mentioned this, but I'll mention it again because it's worth repeating. I am so excited about our as yet uncharted adventures as a couple on some of these adult websites and some of these adult apps that we're already a part of. In one way, shape, or form. We get to reinvent ourselves again. It's exciting, it's kinky, it's sexy, it's all the things from a new vantage point. And I'm already, I'm chubbing right now, thinking about taking pictures of myself cupping her chest with my hands, of semen from multiple huge cocks on her flat chest, of her rocking these outfits that she could never have worn with a D cup. Just there are so many unlimited possibilities of doing things that I find sexy that I know other people are going to find sexy.
But you walk the line.
between exploitation
Uh-huh.
and is it sexy?
And it's really not up to us how that turns out, because all we can do is present it the way we want to, which is non-exploitive. It's just us. It's just me celebrating who I am and being happy with what I have. And
But that's kind of part of the vetting process too. We're not going to do shit with somebody who obviously is just looking for a freak show.
Right.
Know?
Right.
You can very easily tell whether somebody's attracted to you or not within 5 minutes.
And I cannot stop the people who come into, if I'm on cam, come into my room, or the people who view my pictures on any of these adult sites. I can't stop what they think. I can't control it if people with fetishes use my pictures to be like getting off on the fact that I had surgery to remove my breasts. I understand there are people out there who have fetishes of that nature. They like any kind of body part that was removed surgically. So I get that, but that is not my goal. That's not my aim. That's not Mike's aim, is to feed the fetishes or to exploit my surgery. No, that's not it. I actually want to continue to be the sexual person I am. Just, as he said, reinvent myself.
And I am totally on board for the ride. Like, again, I'm just uber thrilled about our future together as a not hypersexualized. I think it's okay to say hypersexualized couple.
I wanted to mention that, by the way, because those of you who have listened to our podcast from the very beginning, when he said that earlier at the beginning of the show, and he said we're not hypersexualized, we are whatever. You may have scratched your head and thought, wait a minute, when you first started this podcast, you clearly said you and Christina are hypersexual. Well, I want to just qualify that, because you're right. We totally did that, and we never actually. I don't think we ever came back here and explained to you guys. Yeah, we didn't correct that, but it was very, very shortly after that, like maybe before we did our next podcast, that we realized, because Mike started saying, "Wait a minute, are we actually hypersexual?" Because I don't think we are. I think I put the wrong label on that.
It's a clinical DSM-5 term that is an actual condition,
right?
And I'm not going to go into it. Look it up.
Yeah.
Google that
But
shit.
we're not that.
But we're not hypersexual. Yeah. We are hypersexualized.
We have a high sex drive.
We are, yes, exactly. We have a high sex drive. We're kinky. We're into sex.
And our sex drive may be abnormal. No, it is. It's abnormally high. And I'm sure we're preaching to the choir here.
We like to have sex multiple times a day, and we're both over 50. So
right. And we'd like to have, I asked the question recently, if we live together, which we don't. We're together probably 80% of the time, but if we live together day in and day out, how often would you want to have sex? And I think he undersold it, because he was worried of what I would say. Because I think he said like 8, 9, 10 times, because I encouraged him. Say something. I don't care if you think it's crazy. So he said like 10, I believe. And I said, really? Okay. Now, do you want to hear mine? And I told him mine was more like probably 32. And he's like, well, I said, think about it. As often as we have sex now, every day, every single fucking day when we're together. Now, do you think that's going to change when we live together? No. All right, now just go ahead. My 32 is actually maybe a little moderate. And I'm not saying we're going to do that every week.
I haven't even busted her anal cherry yet. So
yeah, that's true.
That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, so 20 plus times a week is probably considered abnormal. Yeah, and it's probably abnormal. Yeah. So that's okay, but we're still not hypersexual.
No, we have not been diagnosed as hypersexual.
No.
Other exploitation porn type things that we talked about were crackheads. That is a form of pornography, exploiting people who are hooked on drugs.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful.
It is awful. And we're talking about not just exploiting their habit and their body, but using their habit against them to get them to perform for you. All of that stuff.
Which is actually common if you know anything about human trafficking.
It's horrible. Get them hooked on the drugs and then withhold it so that they will do whatever you want so you can sell the videos. That's exploitation, and it's definitely a fetish that's out there. People who had bariatric surgery and lost a lot of weight very fast.
Skin now.
Yes, they have the Sharpay look.
Right.
And some people get off on that. So these are all exploitive, sexual taboo topics,
Again, that some people will argue that's a consenting adult. Yes,
right.
They may have issue X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, they're over 18. They signed the form. They can do whatever they want with their own bodies. And it's not hard to argue that. However, what we're talking about is morality. We're talking about ethics. Is it exploitative or not?
Like I said, and I always say this, do no harm, right? Do no harm. Do no harm. As long as you can answer that question when you are doing something, if you're questioning whether it's right or wrong, and you can say, well, do no harm. I'm doing no harm to anybody. Are you doing no harm to another person? You cannot say that if any of those situations that we just described, if you are doing that to a person, you are doing them harm. Even if they consent, you can honestly look at it and say, I am harming them. I know they've agreed to it because they're sick. And
great example. I talked about it on a previous show. There are two Asian men. One is masturbating, the other chops the guy's head off as he's masturbating, and then proceeds to eat his body.
And he asked him to do it.
Yes, they both consented to it.
Did he harm him?
Yeah, right.
Don't do harm to other people.
But again, there's always going to be those who walk that fine line, walk that edge, such as anal destruction. There's an entire prolapse fetish kink.
People make it happen. That's what they do. They go about having so much anal sex or putting such big. They progressively cause anal prolapse because that's what they want to see. They want to see that happen. I mean, there's videos out there, and people seek them out to see what an anal prolapse looks like.
Extreme body modification, ball torture, testicle torture. You know, women who are a dominatrix stepping on a man's testicles with stiletto heels.
No, I have to say, when it comes to those things, I realize that it's extreme and it's a fetish, but I don't put that in the same category as the other things that we're talking about, because none of the things that he just this moment said result in
unnecessary exploitation.
Well, they don't
that causes harm to somebody,
like permanent harm or death. Or possible death, or possible, long-term effects.
Although prolapse is kind of
well, no, I didn't mean the prolapse. I don't mean the prolapse. I meant what he just said about the dominatrix, or the there was something you said just
extreme
before.
Body modification.
Yes, the body modification, even though it's extreme, and the dominatrix stuff, even though it can be extreme, none of that usually that he was just talking about results in long-term permanent damage or death.
Mutilation porn is a thing.
Yeah.
Amputee porn. That is somebody who may or may not have been mutilated to get to where they're at.
And again, you're not harming anybody by wanting to see those pictures and getting off on it. If you're going out and you're seeking healthy people and you're asking to amputate their legs so you can partake in this whole thing,
there was a guy in Indiana
different.
I told her about earlier who 15, 20 years ago, he's a doctor, and he was finding homeless people and mentally disturbed people to sign away their rights to their testicles so that he could remove their testicles on camera and legally castrate them. The issue was that he was reselling the videos of himself castrating these
He was
men.
exploiting the situation. He was exploiting the people, and he was making money off of it. And that's when it becomes wrong. Now, if you're just a person who finds those videos and watches them, that's just a taboo kink that you've got, a fetish that you've got. I don't know if it's a fetish or a kink. Who knows? That's up to how it presents itself. But the fact that you are just looking at these things, you're not partaking in creating it. I'm going to go ahead and say there's nothing wrong with that. That's between you and whatever. You're not harming those people.
You're not breaking the law.
You're not breaking the law, and but here's the fine line. If you have a lot of child pornography on your computer, you will go to jail for that.
Any child pornography.
Right, you will go to jail for that if they find it.
That is breaking the law.
That's breaking the law. Now, that conflicts with what I just said about if you find an amputee video and you watch it and you get off on it, there's nothing wrong with it. Well, that's because one is just a person with an amputee leg or something, and you're looking at it to get off. Whatever
they're still a consenting adult.
Yeah. Well, they didn't die, and they're not underage, so it is what it is. You have a taboo kind of kink. You're not going to run around going, "Hey, everybody! I have a video of a guy who lost his leg or a woman who lost her leg, and I just jerked off to it."
Although there may be user groups out there.
Well, maybe so.
Maybe on Fed even.
But it's a taboo topic. Yeah. You're not going to go about talking about it. But child pornography, that is not just a taboo topic. That is an illegal topic. and you will go to
I
jail.
want to talk about harming someone. There's
Right.
very few worse ways that you can harm someone, traumatize them for
That's right. And you cannot partake in it, even if it's just looking at it, because that's partaking in the abuse and
it's just
harm of a
kicked it-
child.
You're looking at it as just someone having kicked it farther down the line.
Right.
But it's the
It happened.
exploitation and abuse
It happened.
is being furthered by your even looking at it.
Yeah, it happened, and you're enjoying it.
We just watched a great video on YouTube about a guy who, and we had watched a guy who
jeez.
had molested his child
Actually did.
and ended up with 10, 15 years.
The most they were going to give him was 20.
Right.
And they didn't. That's what they wanted. He wanted 15. So you see what we're saying. It was
But then
in
we watched the
negotiation.
next video about a guy who
Just had the porn on
he
his computer.
only had the images and video
Yes.
on his computer.
in excess of 100. And that makes a difference, apparently, whether it's 10 or 100.
It was in the hundreds, yes. And what the lawyer was
His
saying,
plea bargain, which means he got a good deal.
yeah. What his lawyer was pushing for was, well, he didn't actually physically harm anyone.
Right.
So we're talking about, can you give him 15 years?
Right.
And that was his plea bargain.
And that was the plea bargain of the other one that actually abused the child.
And what the judge ended up doing was coming back with the maximum that was allowed per that plea bargain and saying, no, you're going for 30 even though you
years.
didn't actually touch anybody, because it's the same as fucking doing it, because it's a child.
But when she started talking to him, it sounded like she was going to give him a pass. It sounded like she was going to say he could have probation or something. And
Yeah, it was cool. It was
yeah.
kind of a calm before the storm.
Yeah,
thing.
she was just like she sounded sympathetic to.
Okay,
you know,
Mr. So-and-so.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
okay.
And then
I
she
heard
hit him.
your arguments.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she hit him with 30 years, twice what he was asking for, and twice of what the man who actually harmed a child was looking at for his plea bargain. And the judge wanted to give him 20. So 10 more years than the guy who actually harmed someone. So don't mess with it.
Yeah, and we've said that
Yeah.
from our very first episode, and it honestly, it should go without saying.
Yeah,
but you know
of
what?
course.
Places like this, where we talk about taboo things,
We want it clear.
places like Documenting Reality, where you see death and dismemberment, and
there
all
are
kinds
lines
of
you don't cross.
crazy things going around the world. They tend to attract a certain type of person who is less inhibited and maybe into things that they know they shouldn't be
Right,
into.
which-
And so from day one, we have said, if
No,
you
yeah.
even fucking think about doing shit with a kid, get the fuck away from
Right.
us. We don't want to hear from you. We have nothing to say to you other than maybe you should consider killing yourself.
Well,
Well, that's me.
that's him. I say maybe you should consider turning yourself in and getting help, or at least getting yourself off the street so you don't harm people. That's the least you could do. That's the least you
The
could
least you can do, yeah.
do, is to remove yourself
You
from
want to
society.
talk about castration, I mean, there's a perfect candidate.
Yet nobody can claim that they are reformed and don't want to harm somebody unless they're willing to remove themselves from society, because they know they will harm people. So anyway, that enough of that. This
It just kind of feeds into the
Yeah,
exploitation
the whole
aspect of it. though.
exploitation, but that is a bridge too far. But the taboo topic is not what I'm talking about doing, but it could end up being that anyway, and that is what our conversation was about. Is it going to be seen as exploitive and taboo, and to be hidden, from even the kink world? Is it going to have to go deeper? Is it going to have to become one of these, hidden
Or is it
categories?
something we can begin to normalize?
Yeah.
Hope springs eternal.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm going to try to do.
Again, I think it's going to be a mixed bag, but I am willing and ready to embrace everything that the world of the lifestyle, quote unquote, throws at us.
And I'm curious what anybody that comes across this podcast on this episode, what they think about it. I mean, what's your visceral, gut?
A woman with no
Reaction.
breasts.
Yeah.
Is that sexy? Can it be sexy?
Right. Do you think of it in the same terms as just a very flat-chested woman? There are women out there who aren't even A cups.
There's also trans women who were born women who have their breasts removed because they want to be a man, or they feel like a man, and that's a surgery that they do where they become flat-chested.
Right.
Can that be sexy? Of course, to somebody who's attracted to a male, that can be sexy. Yeah, they have pectoral muscles now.
Sure, but we're talking about a woman.
Femininity.
Right. And can you find that attractive? And I do sort of lean towards the, there are women out there that wear an A-cup bra and take it off and there's just nothing there.
Right.
I mean, it is less than flat. Usually when you think of a flat woman, you say flat woman, yeah, there's a little mound, there's a little something. It might touch an A-cup. But there are women that take it off and there is nothing. They can put on a sports bra and the only thing you see is a little bump, the nipple. That's it. Can you find that sexy?
Millions of women like that around the world, particularly in the Philippines.
Yes. And can you find that sexy? And what I say is, fuck yes, people find that sexy. Men deal all the time with flat-chested women, and they're okay with it because they find her sexy in lots of other ways. And I want to know why it would be any different if I look that way. Other than the fact that I will have a scar, but what if your flat-chested woman had a scar? What if she had an accident? And now she's got some scars across her chest as well. Does that change her sexiness? I really doubt it. So I'm going to end up getting to the point where I'm going to be getting up in people's freaking shit saying, why am I any different? Just because this happened to me and I used to have breasts?
It's not the standard of Western civilization's beauty, standard that we've all been subjected to since the 20s.
Agree, but there are more A-cup women in this country.
In the world.
Well, in the world, yes, but in this country also, than there are any other size. And I would love to find out.
And you're piping smoking.
Right. I would love to find out how many women are actually minus A in this country. Because I'll tell you what, as well as I do, there's porn out there, and you see it, where these women have nothing.
Just
they have nothing.
Flat chest in any porn
It
search
happens.
engine, and boom,
And
there you go.
I defy you to tell me when they are bent over getting fucked that they don't look sexy. And you can't see their tits. So if I am stigmatized after trying to do this, then it's going to make me very sad, honestly, because I will know that it's because of the cancer, not because of the look. It's because people stigmatize it and can't get over it. Because there's women all over the place who are flat, and are sexualized. And I hate to say that, but I mean, we all know what I mean when I say that. Men find them attractive and they jerk off to them and they want to see them fuck people.
So I'm going to mention Fed again because, again, Christine has been on there for about 4 years, and there are tons of pictures of her on there. And people who go to her profile on Fed will see what she looked like before her mastectomy, if she ends up getting one, and after. And it will be very interesting, and I'm certain we'll revisit this on the show and elsewhere. It will be very interesting, like she said, to see, is there going to be a stigma? Are there going to be way less men reaching out to her now that she has no breasts? Mm-hmm. Or is it going to only attract a certain, fetishized type of person? Or is it going to be as much of a mixed bag as I think? And it's all stuff that I'm not just excited about what we're going to do together on Fed and the other apps, but I'm excited to learn and grow with her and figure this shit out and share it with you guys. And yes, please, if you've had any kind of experience with, breast cancer or mastectomies or, having
as
to
a highly
go from
sexual
a large
person
cup to a no cup or a small cup, let us know.
As a highly sexual person, I'm very interested to know if there are other women out there or men with stories of being with women who were very, very sexual and had to have this. And when he said if she has a mastectomy, I am having a mastectomy, but he says that for rightly so, because right now we're wondering if the insurance is going to allow it because I don't have a really extremely aggressive, crazy cancer. But I do have a very strong family
It was
history.
only found in one breast.
Right.
They may not want to cover a double mastectomy.
Right, and that's
Even
really
though
the
it
main
makes
thing.
perfect logical sense to do so.
But
because of her history and so many other things.
I'm having it though. I'm having it.
And we've already had that conversation.
We're figuring.
She and I will figure this shit out.
Yeah. So if we have to pay for the right side, isn't that something?
Yeah.
Well, they'll cover the left side, but we got to pay for the right side. Whatever. It is happening. So
America.
So if you stick with us and this interests you, and it should, because guys, if there are women in your life, the odds are you're going to be touched by this sometime. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be your wife or girlfriend, but it happens way more than we want it to. So if you're interested, stick with us, and eventually you're going to, be told where you can see the pictures. And we do have the Patreon, which I haven't done anything with recently, but that Patreon account is there for this type of thing. For anytime we talk about things and there are pictures or video attached to the podcast,
just to give you a little perspective. I'm sorry, I don't hold that thought. Give you, because I just saw this figure. Roughly 13% of women in this country will get breast cancer in some way, shape, or form. That is the number of black people who are in this country. 13% of the population are African American. 13% of people in this country who are women will get breast cancer. Just to give you a little perspective.
Yeah, and that's a lot. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's a lot. Think about the last black person you saw. There's a lot of black people in this country.
Of course, yeah. So yes, I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, the Patreon account is there for this type of thing. Whenever we do have correlating pictures or videos that we want to share related to a topic, that's where you'll go to see it. And that's
see
where
what a flat chest looks like with semen on it. I do.
Right. Now, not that you're not going to be able to see those pictures elsewhere. If you're on FET, I'm sure I will post some. If you're on one of the dating type places, I'm sure I'll put pictures.
I wanted to share our usernames for FET and invite people to come there
that's fine.
and interact with us. And so my FET name is Life After 50. It's all spelled out. LIFEAFTER FIFTY. And we'll put these in the description. And then yours is
Honeybee.
Honeybee, HUNNYB.
Yeah.
And you'll see that we're a couple.
And
on
it's
there.
B, the letter, not BEE.
No,
just
the letter B.
The letter B.
And yes, come check us out. Let us know your kinks and your fetishes and the shit that you're into, and be part of our journey. Because there's lots of avenues on there for discussion and messaging and sharing things like this and images and all kinds of shit.
Let me just say, guys, if you've been with us since the beginning, we're only on episode 12. Fuck me. Look at all the shit that's happened since we started. What the fuck?
Talk about a roller coaster.
Yeah, and I don't foresee this ending anytime soon. It's just up and down. So if nothing else, it's just pure drama and entertainment.
We couldn't even post our original episode 12 because of the amount of drama that happened last night. Mm-hmm. And it all had to do with me being jealous of the guys that she had met on Chatterbait and FET. Again, I've never been jealous of any woman in my fucking life because I feel confident in who I am as a man. I know she loves me. I know she finds me sexy. We have great sex. I make her come. And yet, I had these irrational feelings about guys who honestly are not a threat to me, but suddenly, for the first time in my life, I'm feeling territorial and jealous. And I spent the whole fucking show...
hour and 27 minutes.
...talking about how fucked up it is that
Not nice.
No, not in a nice way, because, again, I was in my feels. I was jealous. And jealousy is never a nice emotion to express, ever. Yes, it's normal. Yes, you can work through it, but using that as a template for a show, no. We're not going to do that. And so, yes, we deleted the show, but the simple fact is that is what we do the show for. It's for you to be on this journey with us and feel all the emotions that we're feeling. We're super transparent to a fault. I can't tell you how many people think of me as a fucking asshole because of shit that I've said, or maybe I'm a cuck. We had a listener who thinks I'm a beta cuck or a secret bisexual, whatever. And that's great. I love that. And I was pissed about it at first, but I love that because it just tells me that we are reaching people who want to talk about this shit.
Well, it's making someone think.
Yeah.
He's like, let me enlighten you there, Mike. you are a homosexual, and you are a cuck. How does that feel?
Which, Honey was nice enough to set the guy straight as far as that goes. Like, well, let me explain it to you why Mike actually is a dom, and it was fine. But again, this is what we're in this for. It's to enlighten, to entertain, to educate, and It's catharsis for us. We talk about things on the show that we don't even talk about in normal conversation.
And it's growth.
In real time.
It's growth. It's education. And I mean for us. And, hopefully by sharing it for others. You may identify with something that's going on in our life. Hell, somebody right now might be listening to this that just got a diagnosis of cancer. You just don't know. And that's why, like I said, on my TikTok channel, I am sharing my, let's call it a cancer journal, and I'm taking them on the whole journey with me.
And you're going to get the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Yeah.
not just from this show, but the other shows that we do, which we'll put in the description. Christine and I are taking over.
Yeah, see, and that's an interesting thing, and I'm not going to go into it. But my daytime show, which is what I call it, and you guys know about it, the Unfiltered Real Talk. I had a co-host, and yes, I said had a co-host. It got real. It got real. And speaking of transparency and how, so part of the show, I literally let my co-host talk, and he was basically saying, I can't share everything about this, and I can't talk about that, and I give you as much as I can, but I can't be transparent. And I let him finish, and then I just basically looked at everybody, and I said, and I am fully transparent, and some people may think I'm an asshole, and some people may think I'm not nice, but guess what? I'm actually really nice too, but I am here to tell you the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, and I'm not going to lie to you about my experiences to make myself look better. I have to eat the crow at times. At times I have to look at the camera and say, I fucked up. And I'm not.
And guess who has to do that way more often?
So anyway, that did not go over well with my co-host. Former co-host. I think it made him feel a little way that I was too transparent, and he just doesn't want to be involved with someone who believes you should be that transparent with your life.
There was a little negativity.
Yeah, there
a little
was
shaming,
there was more to it,
Yeah.
but that's the part that I'm taking away from it. And so the next day he quit, and it was not a bad thing. He wasn't mad. He just realized this wasn't the path he wanted to go, and I said that was fine and good luck to you. And Mike stepped up, and I said, hell yeah, be my co-host. So now we're doing that, and that is the PG.
In relationships.
That's right. That's the PG version of this, really.
Yeah.
Relationships, dating, intimacy, life with another person, or wanting to have another person, dating after 50, all that stuff. But it's the PG version. So we have that. We have this.
So that is Real Talk, Unfiltered Real Talk with Christine and S. Michael.
Yes.
And then there's also Christine's Real Talk After Dark, Unfiltered Real Talk After Dark with Christine.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's called. So if you want to see it, you have to search Unfiltered After Dark with, did I say Honey or Christine? It's either Honey or Christine.
Yeah,
right now I don't remember. Yeah. Yeah, and then my TikTok, if you want to follow it, is Talk with Christine. And I'm going to put all this in the description.
Yeah.
So you don't have to remember it. Just look at the description of the podcast. If I forgot to put it in this one, look at one of the other ones. It's there. It's there somewhere. Hopefully it's in the description of the podcast. If it's not, I'll put it there too. So
then don't forget to check out my horror movie podcast because, I'm a horror movie freak. It's called The Scared Shitless Podcast, and that's all we talk about is scary movies. So go check that out if you like scary movies.
And that's it, guys. That's all we have for this week. There you go. You got an hour and whatever, 12 minutes of something that honestly was a relationship update. The entire thing was, but
the vast majority of it, yes. But we did talk about our taboo.
Hey, but that taboo
topic.
is now. This is a taboo topic that we are jumping in with both feet and hoping to change it from a taboo topic to
a not so taboo topic. We might even end up talking about it on our PG show. Who knows?
Maybe. But we do know there are some things that will never come out of that taboo, and shouldn't. I mean, there's just some stuff that is mainstreamable.
Right.
And right now, I'm sure mastectomy patients being sexy is in the taboo topic. But let's try to get it out of there because I think that's wrong. And yes, I'm biased. And we'll see how this goes.
So as always, best of luck to you all in all your sexual adventures.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Hopefully next week. And we know it's Christmas week, but it's,
Hey,
you know,
why can't we do a Christmas episode?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
yeah, maybe we'll talk about fucking elves. Yeah.
Or nuns, you
Do-
know, with a
no.
Jesus theme or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, because the elves is obviously a joke.
There's a religion kink. That'd be a fun one to do for Christmas.
Yeah, we could talk about that. Like,
Piss off some Christians.
my one of my favorite bands. Well, not favorite bands, but definitely has a song that would be great for this topic, which is Typo Negative, and it's Christian Woman. If you've never heard it, fucking turn that shit on right now. Typo Negative, Christian Woman. Check it out right now.
We're
And,
talk about some freaks between the sheets.
and just because I told you guys to listen to that, we'll have to do this next week. This is what we're going to have to do.
Okay, now you know next week's topic. So, see you next time.
Bye, guys.